withering to contemplate about how many people are dying. Africa is imploding.
Africa is a phenomenal continent. That's the point. It's very, very important to the Illuminati. I mean, the British headed there, and for the British, really Illuminati in terms of the powers controlling that invasion. Indeed, the European expansion in general into Africa was Illuminati inspired, and the timescale was brought about by them. And you can follow the different streams of invasions of people from Europe into Africa. Mm-hmm. As you follow the different streams, you can actually show that from the first arrival of the European peoples in the Cape, maybe even earlier that, but officially in the Cape, right to the present day, and the ruling families that control that continent, they are connected all the way through. It's an unbroken stream, just the personnel have changed. And when you go to Africa, the idea that that continent cannot feed itself is utterly, utterly ludicrous. And indeed, Africa is just a wonderful example that tells the story of the world in terms of the manipulation. There is no reason for one single person, one single child in that continent to be hungry. No way, no need. But if you had abundance and people in Africa were left to rule themselves and to live their own lives, you would have abundance. Abundance equals choice, choice equals freedom. So what we have all around the world, and Africa is a fantastic example, is the creation of dependency through scarcity. So if you start wars, you destroy the food-growing land. If you fill the food-growing land with transnational corporations growing for the Western markets, etc., you create scarcity. Scarcity equals dependency, dependency equals control, and that's what's going on.
Indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll pause.
What has actually happened is that this reptilian group, which Credo calls the Chitauri, came here, and I think it's fascinating what he says about the fact that they actually were here once and then went away and have come back. This would explain a lot of things about the compatibility between them and the human race in many ways. And they interbred with humanity, creating hybrid bloodlines. And when you follow the genealogy, and I'm really starting to compile some of this genealogy now of the ruling families of the world, and they go back to the ancient royal kings and rulers of the ancient Near and Middle East. Great numbers of them do. And that's what the Sumerian tablets and other ancient accounts say, the crossbreeds between the gods and humanity, that they were the positions they held, the royal ruling power of that area of the world. And now the genealogy is starting to show that the people in control of the world today, in banking, in politics, and etc., all these institutions of power, actually go back to that same group of bloodlines. Mm-hmm. And in effect, the bloodlines of the reptilians are running the planet, and they're the ones that end up in the positions of power. And what's fascinating about what Credo's saying is he was telling me when I was with him a few weeks ago that actually the royal lines of Black Africa fall into this same story.
They're all in
of claiming descendants from these gods. Yeah.
They're all in it. Wow, fascinating. Credo, tell us what these reptilians or elder brothers look like, and do they manifest themselves today? Do some people see them today in your world?
Yes, sir, they do. But because we human beings have got a very deadly weakness in us, we are conditioned only to see certain things and not to see others. Mm-hmm. To see certain shapes and not to see others. And many people seeing something like a reptile man will not be able to think, to realize what they are seeing. Some of them become so rejecting of what they see that they don't see it at all. And this, you can also find this thing amongst animals. There are animals which are capable of seeing certain shapes, but not others. We are like that. Now, these creatures, we are told, stand about 6 feet or 7 feet high. Yeah. They are very slender in appearance, and their arms and legs are flexible. Where our arms have got knees, their arms and legs they seem to have no joints, but they seem to be made entirely of flexible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, sir, they have got scaly skin, and they have got 2 eyes or 3 eyes. The warrior, they go into classes. The warrior class has got 2 eyes only, which are very, very terrible, like those of a python, which is why we call them Ntwari, Moon Ntwari, that is a human being python. And the higher class have got 3 eyes, one in the center of their foreheads. The big class have got horns on their heads, or horn-like protuberances, of which there are 2, one above on either side of the head. And the warrior class have got a number of short, upward turning horn-like things on their heads. Now, what I find amazing, sir, is this, that in some films which have been made nowadays, there is a film called Star Wars, the recent one.
Yes, yes.
In that Star Wars film, sir, there is, amongst its characters, there is a Chitauri exactly. He is called Maul, Darth Maul. And that is exactly how a warrior Chitauri looks like, with a large head, very cold eyes, and small horns forming like a crown all around his head. And African wood carvers locked up in museums all over the world are carvings from Africa which show human-like creatures with horns all around their heads.
Fascinating, fascinating. We'll pause and come right back and carry on with Credo Mutwa and David Icke in just a couple of minutes. And back with Credo. Credo, when you saw the reptilian in the Star Wars film, what went through your mind? Did you view it as an intent to make people familiar with this being, or some incredible accident? How did you see it?
You know, sir, I do not understand the traditions of the white people, unfortunately. But I was amazed. This filmmaker, how did he come to know about such a creature? Mm-hmm. Because exactly as Darth Maul is portrayed in the film, that when my now late wife saw a magazine article on this film, she pointed out, this is a Chitauri. This is one of our elder brothers. I had not noticed it because I don't read much. But when I looked, I was really startled. Right down to the color, the striped red and black. I asked myself, where do these film producers see these creatures? It can't be their imagination.